Hello, my friends. Welcome to Luminous Human School. I'm Lindsay Davis, and I'm here with Christy Sandino. And
Hello.
and today we are talking about being stuck, feeling stuck in our lives. And I have to say, I have felt this many times in my life, especially in my 20s. I still feel it now. I definitely still feel it now, but I don't know, I feel like I've gained some new tools to work with it. And um, even at times, I need a reminder of these tools, which Christy and I were talking about a little bit of just in the past, like what have we done to help move through some of this stuckness? What has worked for us? What can we offer you if you're feeling kind of stuck in your life in any capacity? What are some things we can share with you that might help you move through that stuckness? And I don't know, the first one I would say is one that Christy you mentioned about acceptance.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that to you because you
Okay.
spoke about it really beautifully. And
Oh,
I think
thank
that's a
you.
really good first step. That's why I'm going there.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so actually we decided to do this topic because we received a question on this topic. So someone reached out to us and asked us to talk about this, and it did feel really relevant.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, something that, thank goodness, I think both of us shared that we aren't as experiencing as much in our lives now that we have the practices that we do. But there,
Mhm.
but that's because we have these practices and we use them to move through these kinds of places that feel really sticky.
Yeah.
So, starting place, like you said, if you're feeling stuck and really feeling stuck in a way where you're not seeing possibility in front of you, where it just
Yes.
seems like there aren't openings.
Yeah. No answers are coming. Like just pure stuckness in the mud, don't know where to see the next direction.
Yeah. So our natural inclination when a feeling like this arises, or a space like this, we're living in a space like this, is to want to get out of it as
Oh yeah.
quickly as possible, to not feel it. and and there's actually a lot of juice in allowing yourself to be with it for a little while.
Yeah.
So saying, accepting, okay, you know what, I'm really stuck and this does not feel good, and maybe I've been feeling this way for quite a while. So can you just allow yourself to admit and feel, yeah, I'm stuck.
Yep.
And then we will always go back to this. Give yourself some love. Give the
Mhm.
part of yourself that's stuck, the part of yourself that doesn't want to be stuck, just some breath and some love. So if you can just even feel that, take a deep breath. What parts of myself just need a deep breath, need some acceptance right now?
Yeah. Yeah. And just that acknowledgement of where you are, the
Mm,
acceptance of where you are, it does sort of relieve some of that pressure and that stress. At least like that's the experience for me of just, like you were saying, instead of being like, I need to figure this out, I need to go somewhere, I need to get out of this, I don't like this, just being like, this is where I am, and accepting that, it creates space to breathe. It creates space for that pause. And oftentimes within that space, you can open up to more of those possibilities. Like
yeah.
you just create a space for it. You create a space for accepting.
And hold within that an energy of curiosity.
Yes.
So if I'm stuck, I can't see any possibilities in front of me right now. What's here for me in this?
Mm.
So if I'm experiencing this, it's for a reason. We don't experience things randomly for no reason. What is the what does my heart want me to know from
Mm.
this space?
Such a good question.
Because there may be a learning, a message from your heart, from your spirit, from this space that wants to be seen, to be this
Mhm.
lesson that wants to be acknowledged and brought up into your awareness. And that's why it's not moving, because there's something for you here in this that
Yeah.
feels like there couldn't be because it doesn't feel good. But what if there is?
Yeah. Yeah. And with that, I was thinking about myself in my 20s, and a part of me was like, I wish I could go and just be like, hey, Lindsay, yeah, you're going to be okay. Like, answers will come to you, steps will come to you. Like, you're going to be all right. And then I thought, well, even in the moments that I am now, could I look to my higher self years from now and just be reminded of that same message that's like, okay, you're going to be all right. Things will flow. You will figure it out. You're not going to be stuck forever. And if that's something that resonates with you, like you could utilize that as part of a practices of working with your higher self and
Mhm.
having that reminder that you're going to get through it. Things will shift. They have to shift. That's the nature of the world we live in.
Yeah, if they always say, like, if there's one constant, it's change. Like, energy is in motion. So,
Always, always.
yeah.
And then, we can play a bigger role in it if we have the desire to make bigger changes. um, sure, people can stay in their patterns and do what they want and kind of have the same routine if that's what they choose to do. But even in that, there are changes, right? But if you're someone who's like, all right, I want to do big things in this world, I want to travel, I want to experience so much, then you can also do that. And that can be really exciting, but also really scary
Yeah.
at times.
So it might be another practice, might be affirming for yourself. I live
Mm,
in a world of infinite possibility.
mm,
So what possibilities, if there are infinite possibilities, where can I start to choose? You
mm.
know, when you're I know I've been in places where I've been in so stuck, it feels like nothing. There's nothing I can choose.
Yep.
So sometimes from that space, the best thing you can do is take an action step, even if it's towards something you don't want. Now that might sound counterintuitive, but stay with us here for a
Yeah,
second.
we have a good example for you.
So, yeah, so I think a great example is in work life or jobs.
Mhm,
And this is something that comes up for people in so many different ways. But for example, say you're out of work and feeling stuck and really don't have a clear direction of what I would like to do, what would feel good to me, what would be something that would, you know, people talk a lot about, like, oh, you should do your passion, you should wake up in the morning and feel like, oh, I'm so excited to do this thing. But if you're not there yet,
mhm.
that's too big of a leap to say I'm going from like unemployed and
Yeah.
I don't know what I want to do to like I'm going to wake up with passion and joy. So what if you apply for a job, any job that's like that, just anything. I would say don't apply for something that you're completely unqualified for, because you want to
Right.
feel this process of
Yeah.
putting yourself out into the world. So
Mhm.
filling out questions, filling out an application. If you
Writing
get
your
called,
resume.
yeah, if you get called in for an interview, go and interview, feel what it feels like to sit with someone and answer questions, think
Mhm.
about, where do I want to be in 5 years? What are the aspects of this job that would be interesting to me?
Yeah.
You do not have to take that job,
Nope, you don't.
but taking action steps in any direction signals to the universe, I'm ready to call in the next step, the next thing for me,
Mhm.
the next job.
Mhm.
I'm ready to activate some energy around a path forward.
Yeah, and it can be that step of just, okay, I'm going to apply for something, because you're creating that energetic movement towards what you want, towards something, or out of that stuckness. Now we're just creating movement, and it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily have to be exactly like, oh, this is the exactly what I want. But if you're that stuck that you don't see the path forward, do something that starts to build momentum, that starts to
Yeah.
create momentum. And then it's like, okay, oh, I got an interview. Okay, cool. What is that experience like to go in for an interview and let the universe know, like, hey, I want a job, and then you could even use that if it's not a job you want. You can be like, oh, now I have more clarity on what I don't want. So when I know what I don't want, I know more of what I do want. Okay, so now you're creating momentum towards what you do want.
Yes.
So I think that's such a great example of, you know, just taking a step forward in some capacity to create movement
Yeah.
and gain more clarity. Um,
And you can use that as a tool anywhere you are along that arc.
mhm,
So I used that example of not being to the place yet where you're waking up with joy, but what if you are? What if
mm,
you're already waking up with joy and now you're thinking, okay, what is my next step from this space?
mhm,
So from whatever space you're in, you can take an action step that where you may be unclear, maybe not sure what your next passion project is or the next big leap you want to take. So you can take any action step that's in that area,
mhm.
that bubble of energy that you're looking to work with, and
Yeah,
move from that space.
yeah. We
So
don't
I just
have to.
want, yeah, I don't have to be like completely stuck and unknown. You can use that from
Yeah,
any space where you're looking to take
yeah,
unknown steps forward.
yeah. And what I was saying is too is like I think we can get into our heads a little too much, and we think I have to have it all figured out. I have to have every single step planned. I got to know what happens next. I got to know what happens next month and next year. And there is this desire, this human primal desire in us to know, for maybe a sense of safety and groundedness, and
Feels
that's a beautiful
good.
thing. Yeah, I love that, and it's a great thing to plan ahead, but you don't have to have it all figured out, especially if you're feeling that sense of stuckness or like difficulty and like finding the direction. Is like, let go of needing to have everything figured out. Just take a step forward and, ask yourself, like, what is the next aligned step for me? And maybe you don't even have an answer for that, and that's okay. Maybe you don't know what the next aligned step is, but what if you just ask the question to yourself, and you see what arises from there, and you stay curious and you stay open to that question
Yeah.
without needing to know the answer in that moment, but just staying open. Maybe that will come to you in time. And so that's a beautiful practice. Just like, what happens if I just ask myself this question? What wants to be here now? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to let things just naturally bubble up without
Mm.
pressure.
Yeah.
Sort of that question into the field. But I would say within that, definitely you want to be taking times to be still and listen,
Mhm. So true.
you know,
Yeah.
so getting out in nature,
Yeah,
you
that's a
know,
big one for me.
which is why I kind of gesture forward towards you when I say that.
Well, when I do think about that when I think of me in my 20s, and I'm referring to this because as I mentioned, like I felt stuck so much. And I felt the pressure to figure it all out. I was comparing myself, I was judging myself, and like, I gotta know, I'm in my 20s. I'm supposed to have it all figured out. No, you don't have to have it all figured out once again.
I mean, you
Oh,
can't. That's
yeah.
like that's an
Yeah.
impossible perspective to
Yeah.
approach anything from.
So true. Yeah. So let go, let that go. Take the pressure off yourself in that regard. And yeah, but one thing that I did do at times of feeling that sense of unknown and worry and pressure to figure it out was to get into nature. And really what that did for me is that it gave me that pause. It gave me that breath. It gave me time to, I don't know, realize the magnitude of the world around me and recognize that there are so many possibilities because nature is everything. It holds all possibilities. And I would witness the beauty around me. I'm visualizing like trees in my mind right now at a specific park actually that I would go to. That's so interesting. Um but it just connected me to something greater and made me not feel like I had to worry so much. And yeah, just witnessing beauty like that, it brought a sense of peace to me that, was just, it let me let go of the stress a bit and be like, okay, I'm okay. I'm I'm going to work through this and I'm going to come out the other side and maybe find myself here again. Probably at some point in my life I'm going to feel that stuckness again. That's It's just
Yeah.
part of life.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that happens when you get outside is that you're actually physically moving.
Mm,
So you're actually physically moving energy.
mhm.
So stuck indicates no energy is moving. So we're
Mhm.
talking about our action steps. How do we move energy? Like swirl it up. Like get your,
Mhm.
ladle in that big pot of stew and start stirring it up.
I love that. I'm so glad you mentioned that too, because I mean, part of me getting into nature, like I would always be out walking or running. I wasn't just sitting. I was moving my body, or I do move my body. I love to move my body,
Yeah.
partially for the reason you're talking about, is it just gave me time to move energy and exercise. We know that that shifts people's mindset. It gives you a boost of brain chemicals that shift you into a happier place a lot of the time. So you do get to let go of some of that, like sitting on the couch ruminating over what you should do. It's like get up and do something, and that could be going for a walk. I know, like my mom and I have talked about this a lot. Actually, is just going outside and walking is almost like therapy. It gives you time to sort of like sort through some thoughts or not think at all. I've found I've come back many times and been like, oh, I have kind of an answer for this, or I have a new perspective or a
Mm.
new direction. And that's been something that's been really, it's probably why I love walking so much. I just love being outside and walking. I will walk for miles and miles and miles and just be like, this is great. It's the
Yeah, it is a
simple.
form of therapy and it's a form of somatic practice
Mm,
because you're, engaging your body in the process. When we sit and think about a problem or something we want to change, what tends to happen is that we cut off our energy somewhere around like the chest, maybe the throat, and just pop up into our head. And if you think about just like the image of a human body from head to toe, that is a very small part of our being. If we're just in our head, there's a lot of wisdom
Mm,
and ability to channel information from energetic sources that lives in the rest of the body.
mm-hmm.
And when we cut ourselves off from that, we are really losing a wealth of information and resources that are our divine birthright, to
Yes.
be connected to the wholeness of our being and to resource ourselves from that wholeness.
So, so true and so important. And it, makes me think of our next tip or, offering we can
Yeah.
mention, and that's breath work. Because breath work allows you to step out of the mind a bit and drop into the body, especially if we're talking about something like a conscious connected breath work where it it actually helps you move away from your overthinking mind and helps you tap into different brainwave states actually, so
Yeah.
that you are experiencing yourself and your mind and your body in a completely different way. So, if you can kind of put the overthinking mind on pause, you are being able to drop into more of the knowledge and the wisdom within the body, and within different parts of the mind as well. So it's a
Yeah.
super powerful tool. But even if we're not talking about conscious connected breath, even if we're talking about just taking 10 deep breaths, you are shifting your physiology and you are shifting the way you are thinking. And that alone, a few deep breaths is potent.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we wanted to share with you all these tools, and so that you can pick and choose whatever feels good to you,
Hmm.
or try different things at different times,
Hmm.
and all kind of under this umbrella of allowing the answers to not be there instantly. So
Yeah.
these tools aren't like, well, I did breath work and I applied for a job and I still don't have the answer. Yes.
It's okay. That's all right.
So we're introducing tools, or maybe reminding you of tools that you think, yeah, I know that one. I like that one. That's right. I do want to use that,
Hmm.
as a way to be with the stuckness.
Hmm.
So, not as a way to say, oh, okay, I'm going to do every single one of these things because I am not going to feel this anymore.
Yeah, still honoring where you're at.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, perfect word. Honor where you are, and allow yourself to try tools, see how they feel, see what lands with you, and notice, just be curious. What is coming
Mhm.
up around this? Going back to where we started.
Yeah.
What is the message for me in this? So, as you're breathing or walking or sitting in nature or taking an action step, just notice what's happening in your body, noticing what thoughts are coming up, and maybe journaling some of that down. It's another
Yeah,
great
journaling.
tool.
Journaling is so great. Doing a brain dump if that helps too. I was thinking of that one. It's just writing stuff
Mm,
down. Yeah, and I love, what you're saying is bringing in that curiosity. And another word that popped in my mind is just trusting. Trusting the process of it all, trusting where you're at, trusting more is happening, more is changing, more is coming, more shifting will happen.
Yeah.
So, and I know it can be tough sometimes to totally trust, especially when
Mm.
you feel so unknown, but seeing how that feels to be in a space of trusting and just noticing that too.
Yeah, these tools will also help with that anxiety or depression that comes with that space of
Yeah.
stuckness.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, different things that may arise out of that state that you're experiencing. So
Mhm.
these are also tools for working with whatever um, energetic, emotional experiences are like the many facets of stuckness.
Right. Yeah, and I do want to mention one more because it's one that
Mm.
I found helpful, and that's talking to a trusted friend or potentially a therapist or someone that can maybe give you perspective, but even just someone who's willing to listen and allow you to express like what is on your heart and on your mind. And sometimes just speaking things out is super helpful. Just having somebody like be of a presence that is willing to hear you. And, maybe it is a therapist that you really trust and they can offer you some other tools that would work really well for you on your journey. So, um, I've found that to be super helpful for me in the past in certain situations, and having that sort of just having support around me
Yeah,
also helpful.
yeah, yeah. I'm a big fan of coaches and
Yeah.
healers, however, whatever forms of support feel aligned for you that
Hmm.
I definitely use on a regular basis and
Hmm.
love to receive guided support.
Hmm. Yeah, and I was thinking too, because even if you are like a coach or a therapist, like coaches and therapists need coaches and therapists too.
Yes.
We don't like if you're a coach, like we don't have it all figured out all the time. Like I'm a coach, I hold a lot of space. We both do. And there are times where I'm like, oh yes, it also feels really great for someone to hold space for me once in a while too.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that's a way that I feel like I stay in integrity with my offerings.
Mm,
I would
mm.
never ask someone to come to me like as an infinite source of
Oh my
support
God.
and that I am not also doing the work and creating support for myself. Like that's really part of staying in alignment and being able to hold space for other people.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like we don't always have it figured out. No, nobody has it all figured out. So yeah, reaching and having the support as a coach, it does like you said, kind of keep you in alignment with yourself and integrity with the work that you're doing. It's like if I go and see somebody, a coach, a therapist, and they're like, I don't need to get help. I have already figured it out. I just come to me. I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know about that. You're telling me you just know everything? I'd question that. Yeah, that's a really good point. And there's
Yeah.
always more to learn. There's always more to move
Hmm.
through and work with and stay curious about. And that's the beauty of this work too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we just really hope that this gives you some inspiration for moving through those stickier spaces in life. And as always, reach out to us and let us know how this lands with you.
Yeah, and if there's tools that you use that you want to share that you found to be really helpful as well, we'd love to hear about that as well. So,
Yeah.
Message us on Instagram at Luminous Human School. And we love you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here with us. We love you so much.